2800.
2800. And right now we're reading 2800. And it takes about, I'm surprised that we got it that close, because we put 10 bags in there.
10 bags.
And normally what will happen is when you put them in there, and it did it originally, this will say high because the salt got high, but it has leveled back out. And let me go along here and see. More than likely, like this is, you can look, and the sheet I gave you right there will tell you what each one of these readings are. This is an instant salt reading, which is only reading 1800, which seems about what it probably is, because that's why I got y'all 15 bags of salt.
Okay.
But I don't like to put salt. What happens is if you put too much salt in, you've got to drain the water out in order to bring the salt level down.
Okay.
And so you build your salt level up incrementally. You know, you put a bag, like probably more than likely tomorrow morning, you're going to come out here and this number is going to be 19 or 20.
Okay.
And just dump one bag of salt in.
Okay.
And give it another 12, 14 hours, because right now it's making chlorine, so it's cleaning the pool.
That's cool.
But like I said, you want to keep your number here at about 2800. And when you put your salt in, put it in slowly, like a bag at a time, so that you don't get real high. Just a bag at a time is not going to cause any problem. If, say, y'all have a pool party, bunch of folks over, normally with a chlorine pool you would get shocked and throw the shock in there. This has got a superchlorinate function. All you do is flip the switch up to superchlorinate. Just don't forget to turn it back off, say the next day. Say if you had a pool party on Saturday, you turned it on Sunday, let it run on superchlorinate for probably either a day or maybe a half a day. But just make sure you turn it back to automatic, because what will happen is it'll bleach the liner out if you don't. If you leave it on superchlorinate, it's just like putting a whole bunch of shock in the pool. And these things are so good now that the liners don't hardly lose their color. They keep their color a whole lot better because it's kept up with everything. This thing is really a lifesaver. Everybody I put one on for, they love it.
Okay.
And there's not much to it. You got this is your number. That's the first number. Your second number is the water temperature, which it's already 82 degrees out there, so it's pretty good. The rest of the numbers are, and you can look on your sheet, it says right there on that sheet right there, and it'll go over each one. Right now, the cell voltage is 27.8, which is good. Your cell amperage is 4.72, which is, it's basically Greek, really. It just tells you when it's not working right, is what it does. The desired output, I've got you set at 90.
Okay.
If you find out that the the chlorine level is staying a little bit too high, and you've got test kits here. You got a test kit, and these are made to work with the salt water.
Right.
And this is another test kit that'll test your salt. If you don't believe what this is saying, you can test your salt with this right here. And but generally I say between 85 and 90.
Okay.
And so that's where I left it. This thing will flip all the way back to the first number if you don't keep moving. So let's go back to 90 and see. The instant salt reading is telling us 1900, and that's probably pretty close, because it takes an 18 by 36 takes about 15 bags, and so it's in the morning. That other number is going to be probably lower, so just put a bag in. Like I said, it takes 24 to 48 hours for this to acclimate. That's the software version. That's your cell, which is a T15, which is right there, which is a 40,000 gallon cell, and you probably don't have but about 26, maybe 27,000 gallons. Okay. And so that's ample, that'll take care of it and then some. And then back to the 2800. This thing, like I said, is really simple. If you have any problem whatsoever, just call me. Sometimes when they're new, you'll come out here and you'll look, and the inspect cell light might be flashing. If it is, just turn the button to off. Hold the diagnostic button down for about 5 seconds, and that'll totally reset everything. And then turn it back to auto, and then go back to your number.
Perfect.
And everything else, you got a new sand filter, and I'm not exactly positive how this is plumbed up underneath the house. If it's just plumbed into the sewer line, because sometimes these need an air vent to work good. And when I hooked it all up to your existing pipe that was going in there, there's a little leak on this union, but the only time it leaks is when you're backwashing.
Okay.
And I'll show you. To backwash, you just turn the handle around, opposite of where it is to backwash. You backwash for about, well, you'll backwash until this sight glass right here runs clear, and the water is clear because I backwashed it just a little while ago. And so you backwash that for probably 30 to 45 seconds.
Okay.
And turn it back off. Always turn it off whenever you change the multi-port. Go to rinse for about 10 or 15 seconds. And what that does, that takes the mess that's left in the pipes and runs it out the backwash line. And then back off. And rinse is right up here, right next to filter. And filter is facing that away. Then go back to filter.
All right, and that's the pointer telling
That's
you
the
where
pointer
you are.
right there. Your the clean sand appears to be about 12 to 14 pounds when it's clean. So generally, when it gets up to about 20, it's time to backwash. Most of the time, what I do is watch the pool and see how the water's coming back in down there on that far end. You got ripples on the water.
Yes.
When you don't see the ripples, it's generally time to backwash.
Okay.
Because what has happened is the sand has gotten clogged up, and when you backwash, it takes everything that's gotten into the sand and pushes it back out the backwash line.
I wondered how that worked. Okay, that's good.
Because what it'll do, as long as it's on filter, all the trash that comes in, it gets in here and gets on top of the sand. Then when you go to backwash, it comes back the other way and it blows all the trash out the backwash line.
Wow.
We're on
That's
filter.
much better than that old
Yeah, yeah. Them things right there, I don't know why they even sell them, because they're the biggest pain in the butt.
All right.
You still got the same valves.
Okay.
The same, that's the main drain valve. That's your two skimmer valves. And this one, whoever installed it, really put it on the wrong side. This valve should be over there, because you should be able to turn the steps off and just have all the flow coming on the returns on the swimming pool. But they've got it so that you can turn the returns off and the steps stay on. But you can't, that's not really, most people would turn the steps off. Yeah, and that's just kind of.
I think we never even knew what that was for. Honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, what that does, and I don't know why they put it on this side, because it should be on that side. Because when you turn it off, all this turns out, that gives you all your pressure on the steps. So it might be that a lot of people like all that pressure on the steps, but the swimming pool does not circulate very well when it's doing like that. So I've just got them both open.
Yep.
This is the main drain. The main drain is open. These are your two skimmers. They're both open.
Okay.
This is the well point. You don't ever use that. That's what I used when we had the pump hooked up out here, when we were pumping the water out from underneath the swimming pool.
Okay.
Other than that, you got a new pump, new seal, new filter, new salt system. The salt Hayward's salt cells, they're guaranteed for 3 years.
3 years. Okay.
They're going to last longer than that. Most people I know are getting 6-7 years out of them.
Okay, that's
It
a friend of
says-
mine said, well, you're going to have to replace that every year.
No. It's sometimes, like I said, this inspect cell, if in the first year this inspect cell light comes on,
Yeah.
just reset it.
Okay.
Because I know there's nothing wrong with it, and it doesn't need cleaning. But when it does say after about 2 or 3 years, it might need cleaning. And this thing it's got unions right here. This comes off and that comes off, and this whole thing comes out. And you set it in a 5-gallon bucket with muriatic acid and 4 gallons of water, and let it sit there for about 30 minutes, and it'll clean the inside of that.
Okay,
So
good.
it's pretty simple.
Awesome. All right. All right.
You've got I didn't tell you the no flow. Like right now, it has not caught up yet, but you'll see that flow switch is that little black knob down there at the bottom with the wire coming out
Yes.
of it. That's the flow switch. This will, as soon as it catches up, whenever you turn it off, it'll do this for about a minute, and then it'll go to generating.
Okay. All right. And it's okay for him. We're gonna build like a little
Sure.
shelter over
Yeah,
it. Okay,
yeah.
so that's all right.
Yep, that'll work.
All right.
That'll work.
And
And I
all
left
these-
your time clock. I don't know if y'all use the time clock.
Yeah, because
Because
this
in
is
the-
right under our bedroom and it hums.
Okay.
So.
Because if you're using a time clock with a salt generator,
Okay.
it will. You're not making chlorine when you
Oh,
turn the pool off.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
in the middle of the summer, it really needs to run 24/7.
That's fine.
And it's actually cheaper to keep this motor running than it is to turn it off and turn it back on. It costs more when it cranks up than it does to stay running all the time.
That's interesting. Okay, good to know. So that might
And
help.
no flow's off, and you're generating. These are the two lights that stay on generally: power and generating.
Can't pick up on my phone. That's fine. All right, so these.
And it stays on automatic, like I said, just about all the time.
Yes.
The only time you would change it is when you wanted to shock it. Say the water got cloudy, you had a bunch of people swimming. Just turn it to super coordinate for
Wow.
a day or half a day, however long you want to.
That's awesome. So we don't really need to add the salt
About once
until.
a month. It'll tell you when to
Okay,
add salt.
gotcha.
That light will come up. That light will come on. Say check salt.
Check salt.
And generally,
one bag at a time.
Yeah, when the light comes on, you put one bag in. Now, it's going to do just like this. Like, see, it's already
Yeah.
starting to fall. Because it's going to take, like I said, it's going to take 24 to 48 hours for it to get to where it's reading accurately. And so I'm going to dump one bag in there before I even leave.
Okay.
And you'll have 4 more bags to go. And then tomorrow you can look at it and see what it is. I'm gonna leave that on off and you can turn it back to automatic tomorrow because it just needs to cycle through. It hadn't caught up with. We just dumped 10 bags in there
That's
about
right.
an hour ago.
Okay.
So
That's cool.
that's why it's doing like that. But like I said,
All right.
and tell Charles just call me.
All right.
You know.
These wires, he'll want to know what those are.
This is the ground wire for the salt system, and this is the ground wire for the pump.
Okay,
And
good.
that's all tied in the way it was hooked up before. Only we just added another ground wire for the salt system.
Okay, good.
Okie doke.
Yeah.
Any questions?
No.
Not
I'm
till
sure
tomorrow.
he'll call you. That's right. All right.